Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is earnings report with Liveall. Basically, this is where I kind of go through the earnings coming up, look at the order flow, and if I like it, then I'll do some trading. So 2 days ago, I think I did trades in Hawaiian Holdings and in IGT. Yesterday, I had a position in Apple, and I put on a trade in Facebook. So we'll see what there is today. So I see some interesting ones coming up in terms of stock names. So let me look at Amazon. So if you look at Amazon, it's at the 84th percentile. That's pretty high. Basically, though, it's indicating a 6% stock move. And I guess in the past 12 earnings, it's moved 8.2% on the average. So if I look at the order flow, there's nothing here that kind of sticks out to me. I do, just looking at this chart in general, and I know Amazon's taken a decent amount of a beating here, but if you look at the monthly, it kind of bounced off the Bollinger Band of the monthly chart, and if I look at the daily, it's kind of bullish. So one of the things is, if you follow people who do technical trading, they don't really trade technically through earnings as much, just because it's not reliable, and people just trade off the earnings news, right? So I understand that, but for myself, I kind of to me, it's because of this downward move. It's kind of similar to a lot of the other stocks. I kind of want to sell some put spread or something, right? So if you look at, one of the things that I think people should be aware of is, like Netflix had pretty good earnings, then it sold off. If you see Facebook, it's not really doing that great. What other stock? Like CMG. So all these like high beta names, like after earnings, it still kind of got crushed. So who knows what's going to happen? But then you could have, and this might be an exception. Apple had this huge up move. So it's unclear what it is, but just looking at the order flow, it's nothing. I'll be tempted to maybe sell some puts just because of the downside. So like what would happen is, let's say I sold some put spread, right? I think like this is the bottom, like around here, 310 or 320 or 315. So whatever spread I sell, if there's a pop, it's one of those things where I need to close right away because of all the reversals that happened, right? Everyone probably knows it by now, so it's not even a surprise. So even though there's like these historical earnings, what you guys have to be aware of is each earnings cycle there's like a different kind of trend, and the trend this earnings cycle is it opens up and then just sells straight down on these high beta stocks, and Amazon is pretty much right up there, right? So let me actually look at some options. And it's good because I just closed Hawaiian. So like, let's see. I'm not gonna go to these because they're like too close, right? But these, the May, because I thought the 300 was the bottom. So like, you see how if you look at the monthly, that 301.50 is the is right in the middle of the Bollinger Band. That's kind of where it bounced off. Now I don't know if it bounced off because of there or because just the number 300. Either case, you know, maybe selling, you know, some of these might be a good. If you're worried about this, maybe you sell the 310 and buy the 290 put spread, right? So you actually do a put spread, so you sell a higher put, which is a little riskier, but you cap it. So you can sell this put, and if it drops like 50 bucks, it's not that great. So in either case, if you sell naked, I wouldn't sell too many. So I would temper it with whatever you have, right? So that's Amazon. So that might be one that I might do. So maybe sell one of these, right? But I'm still not sure. So I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit. The next one is BIDU. So if you look at BIDU, it's trading about 55 percentile. Nothing that much you can get off the stock. Basically, it's implying a 4.6% move, and last 12 quarters it moved 5.4%. Last 4 quarters it moved 6.5%. So same thing. You know, if I definitely don't want to buy anything like a call spread or anything, but I don't want to really sell a put spread either. So basically, this would be a pass for me, right? Microsoft. So Microsoft, let me look at it. Basically, it's at the 66th percentile. You know, maybe 117. Looks like somebody did like, so this could be done with stock, right? So let me actually see if I can find the stock. See, it's 115. So I'm going to do more than 115, 115. Yeah, so you see this trade right here. So how did I get it? Just so you guys know, basically I went to time and sales, right? So you go to time and sales and you go to underlying trades only, then you look it up. You see at 13.18, which is like very close to that other trade, right? I can go there, but usually this would be another screen, right? Basically, this person did 152,000 shares and traded for $39.45. And you can see it's done in Chicago Stocks Exchange, and this was a derivative, right? I'm not sure if this was part of it, because it's the same price. Maybe they printed it a little later, so I'm just going to jot that down in my head. So one was done at 118, the other one was done at 125, right? So let me close this, and then let's actually go back to stats. So if you think this guy basically bought the puts and stock, right? So he bought the 38 puts for 54 cents, and then he bought stock for $39.45. That basically means he bought the 38 calls for almost like $2 or something, right? So let me actually see if that's correct. Right, so he basically paid, yeah, $195 roughly, right? And then he sold these for what price? Actually, it's May, right? Yeah, $195, and then he sold the 42 calls for 17 cents, which, you know, it's not it's not that much, right? Looks like, yeah, July 40. So maybe that 125 print of 44,000 was with this trade right here, which makes sense, right? 124. So this other trade was basically, this guy is doing a call spread, but a ratioed call spread, right? So he's actually has a call spread, right? But also he has puts. So he basically bought the 38 puts, right? And then he has the 38.40 call spread. So essentially he's saying it's gonna go up to $42, right? So 38.42, right? Or if not, it's gonna go below 38. So basically he's buying the 38 straddle, and for whatever reason he was willing to sell the calls, but he's not willing to cap the puts. So he thinks the upside is only up to here, but the downside could be pretty large, I guess, if they miss. So let's actually see. And the reason I'm looking more into this one than the other one is because I've been generally bullish Microsoft for a while, and the reason I say that is, let me actually show you why. So you see how long Microsoft been basically range bound, literally since it dropped in 2000 with the whole NASDAQ crash. So if you look at 2001, when it was trading around 24 bucks, literally 11 years later, in late 2011, it was still trading exactly the same amount, and then now it's been on this uptrend. So usually what the kind of theory behind it is, the longer these kind of like consolidation, the longer these in my opinion, the uptrend lasts a little longer, right? So even though this uptrend is kind of, if you can say like it was from 24 for 42, I think there is still a little more upside to go, because it actually hasn't even hit its all-time high, right? And I'm not sure what their earnings was back then, but I'm sure they make more money now. So whatever the case, so that's my premise on why I was long Microsoft, as well as the fact that they finally got the old regime out and they got somebody new who's interested in making a mark, right? So Obama and Gates, they already made their marks. They built this company called Microsoft. So what more can they really accomplish, right? But this new CEO, his legacy isn't Microsoft. His legacy starts right now. So in my opinion, he's more motivated to do something about it, right? So he's probably going to go into new avenues that he probably thought Microsoft should have gone into heavily, which was kind of being ignored, and blah 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 blah, right? So you guys can kind of see what I'm saying. So I'm not sure if I want to buy the thing, because the good thing is that the options are relatively cheap, right? So it's implying basically 2.9% move, but in the last 4 earnings it moved 5.7%, right? So let me actually pull that up. If I should do the same trade this guy's doing, buy this, sell this, and then buy this, right? Yeah, it looks like it's 225. Let's say I sell the 36 to make it into like a kind of like a condor, although it's not exact. I'll pay 209, but I'll only make $2, so that's not that good. So this would be the trade, right? I don't know. It doesn't, it doesn't float my boat, because it has to go. If I do this for 225, this stock Microsoft has to trade 40.25 or higher, or has to trade 35.75 or lower, right? Doesn't seem like that good of a trade to me. So I'm probably not going to do it. I don't know if there's anything to do here, but that's that. So for those of you guys who think it's pretty good, you can piggyback this. But essentially, what he did was he has a call spread, and then he has puts. probably more puts than anything. So he's actually kind of betting on the bearish side, it seems like, because he thinks the upside is capped, but who knows, right? Let's go to the next one, Newmont. So Newmont, I do have a position just because it was at the, you see it was at the 52-week low when I put it up, and now it's at the 17th percentile. So if I look at it, you see this, what did I pay for it? I think I paid, yeah, so I paid 30 cents 2 times. It's worth about 26 now. So I have this on. If I look at the stats, it's really low, indicating a 2.5% move. Average move, 3.8% the last 4 earnings. A lot of the trades are kind of, it's not enough to kind of shift it either way. If you look at ABX, it's actually climbing. So if you were, oh, well, it was climbing. Now it's down. But the order flow in ABX is a lot more bullish than Newmont. But it is what it is. I don't think it's any clear-cut position in terms of order flow, and to me, I don't have that big of a bias on either way on it, so not that interested. Pandora, 64%. As you can see, there's some call buying on these, whopping 6,700 or 6,800, so 59% of all the calls traded are 5% out of the money calls on the offer. So basically, people are really thinking it's going to go high. So let me actually punch up Pandora. Excuse me, I just sneezed. But this also could be one of those stocks where they announce good earnings, it opens at 31 and then sells off, because that's what's been happening, right? So who knows? There might be people who can't wait to dump the stock. So even if they have good earnings, it might not even end up. If you look at like I think Celgene had earnings too, and damn it. Sorry, it seems like I can't type right now. But anyway, you see how like it just opens straight down. So all these stocks, there's like much, even if it opens up, there is like this kind of like this trend of people just dumping it, maybe rotating out, and maybe for the managers who haven't rotated out yet, just waiting for any good news for a pop so they can just dump the stock and rotate into something else, right? Like Caterpillar or something industrial, something that's made, blah, 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 right? So, so this could be another one like that. I'm not comfortable just, even though that's the case, I'm not comfortable just selling a call spread, but maybe this one might be a good candidate to sell a call spread and maybe a put spread, right? So maybe I'll do both, like a condor kind of a trade. Let me actually look at what the range might be. Right, so like 23 and 40, right? So that's why I kind of like the puts better, but maybe you can sell something that's ridiculously high, like this. But obviously, you're selling something for 12 cents, and you have a chance of losing 78 cents on it. So it's not the greatest. Maybe the best way to do is sell something. What did I say the low was on this? 23. So maybe something like this, like the 25. 25 puts or something, right? But it's still only 88 cents. I can see the stock trading $4 lower tomorrow. So either way, the options don't, it's not really screaming out to me, right? And probably because, yeah, it's only at the 64th percentile. It's not even that high compared to the last year. although, let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. So it was actually higher before earnings. I was like, wait, this looks pretty high, but it's actually here, right? So it actually had the top over here. So who knows? Maybe people kind of know what to expect, which is kind of what I'm saying, and so maybe that's the case. So in either case, this might be a good one to sell some puts, but the vol doesn't, 88 cents, and having that be like literally like a $2 loser before just because they have some bad announcement doesn't seem like that great of a do, right? And there's no order flow that's pretty much guiding me, except for the fact that people are buying a lot of calls. So maybe this is one of those stocks like Apple where people don't expect it to move, but it could actually have surprise to the upside. So in whatever the case, I kind of like selling the puts better than some kind of calls. I'm not that intrigued with buying any call spread just because, I don't know, I don't like buying call spreads generally. Well, I can't even say that. So just, I'm less inclined to buying something because you have to be right on the direction. Whereas, like, if you sell something, you can, if the stock doesn't move, you actually still make money, right? So let's go to Starbucks. So normally it would be a lot, some of these earnings reports will be shorter, but we just have a ton of earnings. So I just want to kind of give you guys as much of the taste as possible, right? So in this one, basically 2-to-1. It's about 75 percentile. Looks like it's the options are implying a 3% move, and it moved about 4% on the average the last 12 quarters, but only 2.7% the last 4 quarters, right? So basically this is the order flow. As you guys can see, it's slightly bullish, but not so much so that it's kind of pushing me into any action. All right, so basically, it's kind of at this range. I think you can easily go down if they don't meet some expectation, but in the end, yeah, there isn't that much to go on for me on Starbucks. Okay, Visa. I look at it, let's see, it's at the 34th percentile, it's really low, but with all the other card holders kind of already reporting, maybe they have a good idea what they would be, so maybe that's why it's low. In general, this isn't telling me anything either. I mean, I use the card a lot, so I feel like, just in general, like these card holders, they just print money. It seems like a good business, but in terms of like the fundamentals, I know very little about it. So that's Visa. It's expecting a 2.4% move, and the last 4 quarters it moved 3.8%. So for those of you guys who are interested in Visa, this might be something that's up your alley. Ford. So they have earnings tomorrow. Let's look at the stats. 31 percentile. A lot of calls, but basically looks like a lot of people are selling the out-of-the-money calls on the bid, which makes it seem like maybe they know where it's going. They don't really think it has that much upside in terms of their earnings. But I think a lot of times when I see like a lot of call selling, sometimes I also think like they're buying stock as well, and maybe they're just saying it's not going to move that much higher, but people like to kind of still make some money by selling premium, right? So it's still 31%, and they want to sell these calls basically to get some premium, but to me, it's not I don't know. it's not anything big. Like this person looks like they did some 1x2, right? I don't know which way, but yeah. So that's Ford. GM had their earnings too. So people who know GM and Ford, they probably already know kind of what Ford's gonna announce. So maybe it's really not even gonna move, right? Which makes sense to put on some kind of buy, right? If you don't think it's gonna move and you own the stock, right? So let's say you own the stock, you read GM report. Let's say you had analysts working, and the analyst comes back and says, "Hey, look, the stock is already where it should be, according to everything, and it's not going to have too much movement. If anything, if it does well, it'll have that pop, but the vol should go down afterwards. So it makes sense that people are doing these. Let's see if there's anything to do here. Let me look at the maze. Yeah, I mean, $16.5, 70. You know, maybe something like May 15, 16.5. You pay $1, or like if you want to be more aggressive, the May 15.5 and 16.5, and you pay 70, and basically, if it stays here, you still make money. So that could be one, but in the end, it's not that clear cut. But I just wanted to show it to you guys. So that pretty much wraps it up in terms of earnings. You know, to me, still maybe the best ones are maybe doing some puts in Amazon and Pandora, but maybe some stuff in Microsoft maybe. But in the end, there's nothing that is really screaming out to me, because if it was, I would have probably already done a trade and I would be showing it to you guys. But it's not really screaming at doing any trades. So for now, I'll stick with that. Hopefully you guys can pick something out of this that's a winner. If you do, you know, go to the forum and write about it. Other than that, I'll hope good trading, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.